Oh, good afternoon, everyone. It's after the noon hour. Here we are on YouTube once again. And thanks for everybody for finding me on YouTube. We'll continue streaming at lunch like nothing happened. We got a beautiful day. It's about 70 degrees. We got to soak in this wonderful late September weather while it's still here. So speaking of that, I'll head over to the Riverwalk. We'll see if the boats are still touring. We'll check out the new Wolf Point Esplanade on the north side of the river. It looks like they have it fully open. So we'll cross the Michigan Avenue here, as we usually do this time of the day. Chris, thanks for tuning in. Javier, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Good timing. Yeah, see, thanks for being on. J-Cat, yeah. So thanks Javier and Chris for finding me here on YouTube for the lunch tour here. Yeah, we'll just head over to the Riverwalk, enjoy this fine September weather. It's got thin clouds, so the sun's trying to burn through, but it's, hey, Geary Golden Baby, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for finding me on YouTube. I appreciate it. I think most people know what happened. I got reprimanded for criticizing and you know, that's the, you know, can you teach an algorithm how to distinguish between sarcasm? You know, I was sarcastically, it's, you know, I get what I deserve. You know, I just knew when I was walking down Lincoln Avenue, and I got to be very careful about it. I guess I got to become second nature, you know, like if I see a marijuana dispensary, I got to turn the camera away, shield the kids from the horrible realities of walking down the street. You know, Al Capone, you know, why is this okay and a marijuana leaf not okay? I don't know, you know. And but you know, the real thing, and I gotta be honest, and it does make sense now. TikTok did give me a reason why I got the week ban this morning. It said, because here's what TikTok said. It says I was spreading misinformation. TikTok said I was spreading misinformation. What was the misinformation? When I knew that I filmed that marijuana leaf, I said, oh, sarcastically. And I got to be careful with my sarcasm, because what is most threatening to authority? Sarcasm, because it's the most, how's it going? It's the most, you know, threatening thing to the power structure. I said, oh, the Communist Chinese Party is going to ban me from TikTok. That was sarcasm. The AI doesn't distinguish between sarcasm and a statement of I was trying to promote that or something. So I think that's what got me banned, and I deserve that, I guess. So, but here, we'll check out the music here. Yeah. Yeah, sounds great. Some smooth jazz as we head down the Riverwalk. Yeah, they heard me. Big brother was watching. And it was fast. It was swift. It threw me in the gulag. I would have loved to linger and film more of that wonderful street performer, but I don't have much cash in my pocket, and I would rightly need to give him some cash if I was going to sit there and film him. But we're just passing by, and you can check it out yourself. We'll head down to the Riverwalk here on a nice, easy lunch cruise. Nothing big. The gimbal snapped when I film in landscape. I got to be more careful with the gimbal because it's not as forgiving with the angles I want to take for the camera. It gets out of balance. It's trying to balance the wide phone. You know. Hey, we got a pleasure craft there. Look at that. Hey, Diana, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, don't piss off China. We're in America. This is the new thing. People are going to start foregoing their free speech rights just to stay on TikTok. You know, it'll happen. Sharon, thanks for tuning in. Yeah. Angel. Yeah. Don P. Yeah, the picture's better. Yeah, if I had my preference, and this might happen, I might just, you know, I keep saying this and it's starting to happen. I would just much prefer just to stay on YouTube because, you know, this won't be the last time. It'll happen again, and it's par for the course. I should have known TikTok's made for kids because I have to understand that, and that's why it's such. Why do you think the authorities are so worried about TikTok? I'm not talking about I'm talking about American authorities too, the government that wants to limit it from government servers and other things. Why does social media exist? I'm talking loud here. Here comes Chicago's leading lady. It's looking nice. Okay, so why does social media exist? To make money for their investors. What's the most lucrative long-term cohort that they want to have access to? 13 to 17-year-olds. That's why TikTok allows 13 to 17-year-olds to be on their platform. Because that's the case, unlike X, you have to be 18. There's a lot of dirty stuff on X, which used to be Twitter. We know this. The internet's a pretty dangerous, crude place. Because the young kids are on there, things like marijuana will always be controversial and always be limited. Free speech things will always be limited because they want access to that market. And we as adults, most of the people that, you know, can tolerate just seeing a marijuana dispensary in the street, even if we don't participate in it or condone it, we understand we live in a society where we have to tolerate things. TikTok doesn't have to do that because they want to maintain their access to the young minds, which is dangerous. The young minds, and you know, it's just it's so laughable that, you know, we get banned for spreading misinformation according to their terms and conditions, and yet people can spread misinformation in the comments. What Chris and Diana and Sarah deal with in the comments, you could spread all the misinformation you want in the comments. TikTok is not going to stop that. They can't stop that. They don't have the tools to stop the trolls from spreading misinformation. Every time I go on there and a troll says Chicago's the murder capital of the world, that is misinformation. That is not a factual statement. That is untrue. But TikTok allows that and will continue to allow that, which is why TikTok's terms and conditions are stupid. We all know this. I'll get off of this and allow us to enjoy the Riverwalk. You guys get where I'm coming from. That's why I'm on YouTube. That's why I want to migrate away from TikTok. This will always continue as long as 13 to 17-year-olds are allowed on the social media platform. I understand why they want access to that market because it's very lucrative. You get the young minds and get them hooked, and then get them, get them to accept that they don't have free speech because they'd rather sell them stuff than give them civil rights. You want a captive audience. I'm going on and on here. Look at the the bread and butter. You got it. Look at this. Look at these balconies on the Marina Tower. Look at the nice landscape balconies they got there on the Marina Towers. We can zoom in here. Isn't that nice? Hopefully I won't hit the mood here. Hey, welcome to Chicago. Welcome to Riverwalk. Welcome to YouTube. I hope everybody's having a good time here. And I'll try not to invade people's privacy too much as we're going down the public walkway here. Their bread and butter. You got it. Yeah, you got it. Hearts and minds. And it's the slippery slope of we're like frogs being boiled slowly in a warming water. We're slowly accepting corporations are dictating the free speech, social discourse, terms and conditions, not the Bill of Rights. And it's one thing when YouTube and Facebook does it. It's another thing when TikTok does it, because it's the Cayman Islands. They're not even, you know, base your company even in America. If you want access to the American market, you know, and what allows that? Stockholders, corporate lawyers, tax havens. You want access to our markets, but not have to pay taxes in our market. And power. As I walk by the gleaming corporate towers, what do I always show here? These skyscrapers built by corporations that fund the architecture. I know, I'm a hypocrite too. But thanks for listening. Thanks for tuning in. Let's enjoy the Riverwalk. Let's enjoy legal seafood, the Marina Towers, the nice little docks here. All the boats are out. People must have rented them, yeah. Futures now. Yeah, the Jetsons Towers. That's what this was. This was the city living in the sky. We were supposed to have flying cars by now. You could just land your jet pack there on your balcony, just like George Jetson.
All right.
Look at this. We can get the boat on the left. We get the Riverwalk on the Riverwalk on the left, the boat on the right. Get my directions confused here. Hey, we got some kayakers, we got some boats out there. Let's go check them out here. Yeah, we'll go by the City Winery. Now the sun's out. We got some beautiful sunshine. What a beautiful day. So what else is happening? Did I miss anything else in the news? What else is going on? Are they gonna fund the government? I guess that. I forgot the Fed speaks today. The Fed speaks about interest rates at 1 o'clock Central Time, 2 o'clock Eastern. They largely think they're not going to raise interest rates. I'm sure the market's already ready to bounce higher. Got to keep that stock market up at all costs. I know all our retirement savings are in it. You know, it's a. Why am I knocking it? You know, don't bite the hand that feeds you, right? Which includes TikTok now. Oh my God, look at this. Yeah, we got lower level parking. Look, let's get this. Here's the boat that's cleaning up the river. So remember, I show this boat that they go and they scoop up stuff that's floating on the river here. Hold on a second here. Oh, the congressional hearing. Yeah, Jim Jordan. He always reminds me of my high school gym coach. They used to kick us in the back of the head. Here's yeah, let's go over there. Let's get closer to that. That's the boat that skims the water that helps get garbage out of the Chicago River for the kayakers. Look at that. So the kayakers don't have to kayak through garbage on the Chicago River. And so there is an active effort to actually not just sweep the streets, but sweep the river. And that's what this boat is. It helps clean up the river, and we'll get closer to it. We'll get a closer view. That guy just got off there. He's going to lunch. Yeah, they're stopping for their lunch break. You get some Tiny Tap and probably put an order in. Yeah, Harden Corp. This might be something else. This might be a construction. Yeah, they got a. This is like a construction pontoon boat. I misspoke. I thought this was the thing that cleans up the river. I think these are just contractors. They probably inspect the underneath of the bridge, and they got a crane there, and they're just got a contract with the city to maintain stuff. Yeah, I'm broke. We'll never be able to retire. Well, you know, and that's what they're saying. You know, of your savings a year, and so that's $40,000. Could you live off of $40,000, even if you had $1 million in escrow, or on the stock market, or in bonds, or whatever? So now you need like $10 million. You need $10 million to maintain a $400,000 a year lifestyle before taxes, and that could be a pretty good lifestyle. But then by the time we retire, it'll be 100 million because of inflation. And then, so, you know, yeah, the value of your stocks and everything, but adjusted for inflation, we're treading water. And that's the big, that's the game, you know. Look at the Britannica building here. We're along the nice seating wall here. Chicago River. Yeah, we're heading over there. We're gonna go over to the confluence. They got a nice new riverfront esplanade. We'll check it out in landscape, see what it looks like. There'll be nice views to the Loop skyline, the Sears Willis Tower. There's people enjoying there. What beautiful, yeah, we're mid-70s already. Oops, sorry. Hey. And we'll follow along these kayakers. We'll head in the same direction. Yeah, it's good to see people sitting out here. Is the LaSalle Street Bridge. Yeah, pretty soon they'll open these up. I don't think this Wednesday, maybe it's later in October, they're going to start opening up these bridges to let the sailboats back into the winter dry storage. So they'll reverse the whole thing we saw in spring. What's my favorite piece of Chicago history? Okay, good. Yeah, we pretend we're already retired. That's a good question. Let me think about that to give you a good answer here. Let's see. So my favorite part of Chicago history. Well, you know how much I like old Native American history, American Indian history. I really like the Wells story, the William Wells, who was, along with the initial wave of, okay, let's combine that with the Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable. So let's combine William Wells with Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable. That's probably some of my favorite history of Chicago, because we get to go back to before the founding of what we think of the founding of the Chicago. We get to go back to the colonial era where the Native Americans were still here. And so, and there's Native Americans that still live in Chicago today. There's a significant Native American population. There's a Native American Heritage Center that I need to visit. I think they moved it. It used to be on the north side. Now it's kind of on the northwest side. And back in the time of Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable, the French claimed this. They mainly used it as a fur trapping area. It was the voyagers. They explored this area. They had outposts down the Illinois River, Peoria to St. Louis, Camp Girardeau, and up to Chicago, which was this tiny trading post portage to get to the Great Lakes. The portages in Detroit and over by St. Joseph there were more significant, and Mackinac. And so that's why Jean-Baptiste Point du Sable was here. He was trading with the Potawatomi Native Americans. He ended up marrying an American Indian Potawatomi wife, and they had children. And later, you know, he moved away. He moved down to St. Louis, sold his land to Kinsey. About the same time Kinsey was getting here, Wells, he was a kid. He was on the initial wave of American frontier westward expansion with the Lincolns. They first went to Kentucky. They went through the Cumberland Gap. They went, you know, with that initial wave with Daniel Boone, founded Boonesboro. They got to the Falls of the Ohio. They were living around Louisville. Abraham Lincoln's grandfather was killed by the Miami tribe. William Wells' father was killed by the Miami tribe because they were on the leading wave of frontier development. The Native Americans pushed back against their settlements. They considered them illegal poachers of their land, you know, their treaty tribal land. And it was, some of their treaties were with the British, some of their treaties were with the Americans. It was really confusing for the Native Americans because they didn't understand that the fact that the Americans won the Revolutionary War voided some of their treaties that they had with the British. And they were like, we had this treaty with the British, and the Americans like, we don't recognize that treaty anymore because we defeated the British, and you have to make a new treaty with us. They're like, aren't you the same people? You know? And they're like, no, we're a new country. They're like, well, we don't recognize you. And they're like, we don't recognize your Indian nation. You know, the American history is full of this, you know. And here's when William Wells, he was adopted by the Miami way when he was a kid because his father was killed, probably his mother too, and they adopted the kids. He was raised as a Miami way. He married a succession of Miami Native American wives and knew their language, was immersed in the Miami culture, and he knew English. When the Americans figured this out, they used him as a double agent to try to spy on the Miamis and use him as to pressure them to be allies to the Americans and not to the British. The British, of course, provided aid to Tecumseh and his confederacy. Tecumseh and his brother, the Prophet, tried to unite multiple Native American tribes into a Pan-American Native American alliance, the Northwest Confederation of Native American tribes that were fighting against American westward expansion. Tecumseh was defeated in the Battle of Thames up in Canada, and William Wells lost his life here. He was fighting with the Miami Way, and the Potawatomi killed him. And Wells Street's named after him. Of course, John Baptiste Point du Sable has a bunch of stuff named. John Baptiste Point du Sable has a bunch of stuff named after him, and we could discuss how, you know, the early colonial happenings of this region, you know, and so that's some of my favorite Chicago stuff to talk about. Of course, we can get to the 20s, you know, all the Prohibition era stuff. We talk about St. Valentine's Day Massacre and hey, let's listen to this tour right here. I should do kayak tours here.
This had its own unique zip code. The reason why the field wanted to spend a ton of money putting this monolith of a building in this spot on the river is because he wanted to capitalize on the 2-week time span from this spot on the river using boats and cargo ships coming over to make some merchandise marks to ship goods throughout.
Yeah, no flag, no country. Just make some rules up. Yeah.
The birthplace of catalog ordering in the United States, right? We all probably remember catalogs, the magazines that would get sent to your door.
Yeah, the burning plan is nice. That's probably... See, remember I said that? The Amazon of its time? He said the same thing. You know, Marshall Fields, it was really Sears, Roebuck, and Montgomery Ward were the Amazon of their times. But Marshall Field was even before that with the department store. But yeah, the burning plan of Chicago, the 1909 plan of Chicago, is another favorite part of my Chicago history. I guess we could talk about that. Of course, Wacker Drive. Why is it named Wacker Drive? We go by the Wacker House. You know, he was part of the Plan Commission. Wacker Drive's named after him. We get some of these things like the Merchandise Mart, you know. The fact that, you know, they want to create these riverfront buildings that had streets that fronted the river, an esplanade, you know, on both sides. You see it there. Even things like the bridge houses. They tried to do the City Beautiful movement, you know. All the parks. We were at Northerly Island. That was a result of the burning plan. Buckingham Fountain, Grant Park, all the museums there in Grant Park. Navy Pier, which was supposed to be a municipal pier for commerce. Look at that view of Chicago as we cross the Orleans to Franklin Street Bridge here. Yeah. When the Merchandise Mart was built, it had its own zip code, as did the Sears Tower. The Sears Tower had its own zip code when it was built. I think that has changed now. Here, I'll go here to get you this view to the Sears Tower, which I missed because I'm pontificating too much today, as we all know. Thanks for tuning in for YouTube. Doesn't this look nice on landscape? Yeah, that's the kayak tour we were just watching there and listening to. And there's the Sears Tower. There's a good view to it right here. When you exit the Riverwalk, I should have panned right around here. There's the train. Look at the L going by, the Sears Tower, Willis Tower. We're at Wacker and Franklin. And yeah, we'll head back across here and get these nice views of the Chicago River as we cross. in front of the Merchandise Mart. Yeah, the Merchandise Mart had its own zip code. And see, we posted that video of Art on the Mart. The nice trippy visuals. Yeah, he watches my videos. I'm sure the kayak leader's been doing the tours even long before I've been doing my live streaming. But yeah, we'll head over here. Look, there's the tall towers that now surround the confluence. You see how this was supposed to be, the boats could tie up right here. Of course, behind here there's railroad tracks underneath here. There is a way, there used to be a way to, the railroad tracks would go all the way over towards Navy Pier. They would go towards the Ogden Slip. And I don't know if all the right-of-way remains yet or not. There was talk of turning that into a transit corridor. Here we are in Chicago in front of the Merchandise Mart. There's the Chicago River. And look at that, look how nice that looks in landscape. And we can see the Esplanade here. That's corporate space. They can kick you out of it. I've been kicked out of it before. But here, we'll head right over here to the Blue Bottle Coffee. There we got the light. And this is Orleans Street heading north. If you cross the bridge, it becomes Franklin. There's the the train going across the Wells Street Bridge. Look at these kayakers. We'll head right over here. And we'll head right down to this new Riverfront Esplanade. Hey, thanks for tuning in and listening. Sometimes I get things wrong. My brain leaks. I do the best I can trying to remember all this stuff off the top of my head as we walk around. And yeah, the question was, what was my favorite part of Chicago history? But there's like all things, I got several. I don't have just one. We mentioned several, you know, the Burnham Plan. I like talking about that. I like talking about colonial Native American history in America, and a lot of stuff that's left out that at least I never learned, even in college. You know, it wasn't until researched it on my own in the libraries and the internet that so many of the established history books left out, you know, of our early founding as a nation. You know, and it's because it's the myths we want to tell, you know, and it's very important to the propaganda. And all countries have founding myths, not just America. Talk to Mother Russia and Ukraine. No, it's horrible. But yeah, here we are. Welcome to Chicago. We're up here on the new Esplanade. You see how we're west of Franklin Street Bridge. There's the kayakers going by. Yeah. Oh yeah, there was many people that were part of the Burnham Plan. It was also well, Daniel Burnham, Wacker. Of course, that was funded by the City Club of Chicago, or the Commercial Club of Chicago, I forget. And you know, there was the business interests had their vision of Chicago, which there wasn't a lot of community input to that plan. It wasn't how plans are done today with community meetings and input from various stakeholders. It was one stakeholder that funded the plan, and it was their vision. And it was, you know, they realized we had a dirty, chaotic city. They wanted to clean it up, make it more orderly, transportation, parks, which was interesting. They added a lot of parks. Burnham seemed to be influenced by the L'Enfant plan in Paris, where they made a lot of diagonal boulevards and stuff like Ogden. And he wanted to do all these diagonal Parisian-style boulevards that would cut through the city. And you see the wonderful watercolor sepia illustrations that make up that plan. And, you know, the giant civic center and these Beaux-Arts neoclassical buildings. Of course, Louis Sullivan was angry about that, as were the modernists that came later. They wanted a more Le Corbusier's interstate city, you know, Frank Lloyd Wright's broad-acre city. But here we are. See, this is the actual confluence. You see the Y here? The Y, and you notice that Y, Chris, remember when you went to the Chicago Athletic Association there, the hotel on Michigan Avenue has the Cub symbol. They had that Y in the C. It was the confluence, and you see it in our flag, the confluence of the north and south branches of the Chicago River. And you see it right here where they used it for Wolf Point here. We're underneath the Salesforce Tower. You hear the rumble and the yell there. Yeah, thanks for tuning in, everybody. So here, what time we got? 12:33. So we might as well head across the Kinsey Street Bridge. We'll check out this new development over here. We'll see if it's open, and I might have to backtrack on that because I really just want to be able to walk out past the bridge that's in the upright position, but they've been having it blocked off because they're still working on this area, and it looks like that's still the case. They got access limited, so we have to go up the stairs here, but we'll get the pink line going across the Lake Street Bridge there. Yeah, it's a nice floor emblem. Yeah, and you see they even have it in the railings. You see it in the railings here. They got that Y, and so that repeats. That's a city-wide thing, not just for this development. You see how they have this blocked off. So we'll have to head up these stairs. Have to go a different route. Walls and barriers, walls and barriers. We all say celebrate our freedoms, but there's walls and barriers to access. Not just for me, for other people too. But here, we're over here where this is called Wolf Point West. We're at the Salesforce Tower here. It feels really warm today. It's actually getting upper 70s. It's amazing how fast it's warming up today. The sunshine helps out a lot. Oh, the World's Columbian Exposition. Well, okay, good. See, you guys are helping me out. Somebody asked what's my favorite part of Chicago history. There's several. And I left out the World's Columbian Exposition. Yeah, it's not just Devil in the White City. I read that book, of course. It's also, yeah, that the World's Columbian Exposition proved that Chicago had finally arrived on the world stage. You know, we can't imagine how fast the city grew from nothing. Literally, a fur trading outpost in 1830 with barely 100 people living here to, you know, 60 years later, over 1 million people, soon to be 2 million people by 1910. A whole city where there didn't used to be a city. And there's, you know, other things have happened. We talked about how fast Dubai grew and other areas. But, you know, back then, Chicago at one time was briefly the 5th or 6th largest city in the world. And it didn't last long. Of course, even LA surpassed us. And when we're soon to be surpassed by Houston, the growth of cities throughout the world. But as far as the impact, Chicago, you know, it would never rival New York, but it was always the second city until LA became the second city. And the Great Depression really hurt Chicago permanently. It stopped its growth. But yeah, the World's Columbian Exposition, that, you know, that really accelerated them completing the Green Line. They completed the Green Line L from the Loop to the Hyde Park, Jackson Park area of Chicago. That accelerated growth to the south side. The south side grew and filled in really quickly. And then, you know, they built the other lines in the Loop. Of course, the technological innovations that were showcased. The World's Fair, it was before the internet. The World's Fair was like a way for people to discover new technologies and electricity, the machine age, you know. Yeah, the hub of commerce, water, rail, you got it. That's what, nothing concentrates more than railroads. And we were the railroad hub for the Midwest And yeah, I was rewatching the Charlie Chaplin movie when he went out to Montana, where he first discovered talking movies, or no, silent movies. This was back in like the 1910s when he first came to America, Charlie Chaplin. He came from the railroad from Chicago, took it to Montana, and then eventually got out to California. And it's because Chicago, all the railroads from the west terminated in Chicago. They would come to Chicago, and then you would take a different train, transfer to a different train to get to East Coast. And it was a transfer station. What do we got here? 1238. Yeah, we could bring back the World's Fair. Yeah. So, yeah, here's the north side of, and you see how much time I waste, because we could have already been across the river. It's just they have that blocked off, and it's just the way it is. We'll go down these stairs here. I'll have to hold my nose because a lot of people use this as a restroom. Well, lucky there's no smell that comes through the internet. Like there, don't step in the puddle. This gets us down underneath. There, we'll cross over here. I'll try to get to the southern side of the bridge here because it has the best views here. Yeah, Chicago is still a rail hub. It's a rail hub for Amtrak. It's still a rail hub for BNSF, Santa Fe. There's still railroad companies. There's still large rail yards. Still a lot of our freight traffic comes through here. Warren Buffett's still heavily invested in the railroads throughout the nation. And here we'll get across the bike lane here. Smell vision, yeah. Didn't Willy Wonka wanted to create that, or smell vision or taste vision, I forget which one. Yeah, these people scooting around. There's the East Bank Club. That's looking up Kingsbury, the housing there on Kingsbury. So we're on loading docks here. The reason to go here, we got the Kinzie Street Bridge. We'll get this nice view and landscape to the railroad bridge that is stuck in the upright position. It's not really stuck. See, we just missed that tour boat. If I could have just walked down here, we could have got that tour boat going by as I trip from the sun. But there's that. It's not really stuck. They leave it up in the upright position because no railroad traffic goes across it, and they don't have to raise and lower it. And they do lower it once a year, supposedly to check on it, make sure it's maintained. Well, here, we'll get this boat. So let's get in position here. Let's run up here. Here's the Kinzie Street Bridge in Chicago. There's the bridge house. And see the Wendella boat. Here comes another tour boat. So I'm going to try to get right here in the middle of the river. And here's the wonderful housing here. Mr. Weiss, the architect, Harry Weiss was the architect of this. Look at this beautiful view to the Chicago skyline, the railroad bridge north of Kinzie Street that's stuck in the upright position. It's not really stuck. And I'm angling the camera down here a little bit because we'll try to get, there we go. There's the tour boat coming across. Look at that. Kinzie Street Bridge, welcome to Chicago. Fort Dearborn boat going through. Yeah, you want me to climb it? I'll climb up there. You can see how people climb up, and they put graffiti tags on it. You can climb up to that bridge house that's on there, and there's a counterweight over there. I like walking by there, but they got that blocked off. Isn't that nice? Look at this view. And there used to be a spectacular view to the Sears Tower, the Willis Tower, but the Tuning Fork building blocks it now, and that's the Bank of America. So the Sears Tower is behind there. There used to be a classic view here with this bridge to the Sears Tower that was iconic, but you know, you can't stop doing development, and it's still pretty nice. You see where we're at here. But yeah, here's the Harry Weiss. He designed that in 1988. He wanted it to look like a sailboat. Got those diamond Look at the sunlight that comes in, floods those houses right on the river. You can pull your boat right up there. They got the spiral staircases. It's great. And here we are over by Canal. Might see some metro trains going by. But yeah, there's the, look at that. Thanks for tuning in. Yeah, the money shot. We'll get that. Hopefully I won't get banned for saying that. They say never read the comments. Never read the comments. Now I know why. You never know. There, look, there's the metro at grade there. Yeah, you can look it up on apartments.com or Zillow. It's pretty expensive. Like, I was amazed. Now, I don't know this. This is probably luxury rental. They're building this right here on Canal. I know I was shocked when I saw that 2 bedrooms in Fulton Market District, which is just west of here, those buildings over there, $4,000 a month for a 2-bedroom. I'm like, man, that's a lot. You know, if you got a nice luxury 1-bedroom, it could be $2,000 easily a month. Different neighborhoods, you can get a 1-bedroom for $1,500 or less. Studios are probably $1,300. Depends, you know. And when I first moved here, for example, in the late 1990s, my first apartment was $550 a month, and by the early 2000s it jumped to $800. And then by the mid 2005 it was over $1,000, and I was shocked. I'm like, I can't believe I'm paying over $1,000 for rent. And now it's like easily double that. And so not only is my rent doubled from $500 to $1,000, it doubled again to $1,000, and that's just in 25 years. 25 years, the price of rent has gone up. What is that? 400%? I don't know. You know. Yep. Inflation. Inflation is a hidden tax that affects all of us. You know. See that metro just went. These are active tracks. These are active tracks that go down into Union Station. When that bell starts, sometimes you can be here. That arm starts to come down. You got to get away because that train's moving. You got a lot of dangerous at-grade crossings here in the West Loop, and there might be one coming right now. I hear some bells behind me. But that might be from the train that just went through. That sounds about right, 75K. You know, I would argue if you want to move to the city, at least try for a job for $100,000 to be comfortable, because you can make it on 75, but it's hard, you know, as everybody is. It's an expensive city, and we're not even as expensive as the California cities or the East Coast cities, which are even more expensive. You know, New York, you know, and even Austin, Miami's really expensive, Florida, you know, Phoenix. There, Gibson Steakhouse right here. We'll head right up here. So we'll go up to the confluence. What time we got? 12:47. But hey, thanks for tuning in. Yeah, it's a scary corner. There's the L going by. So we'll get, yet again, we'll get spectacular views to the Chicago River up here.
Because we're pretty close to a lot of those.
We'll enter it from this side. Okay. Yeah, they got all this outdoor seating, but everybody's inside. I guess it's because they're actually inside for air conditioning today. Yeah, you got to be pretty far away to get $1,000. You know, you're living in Joliet or Gary or Waukegan, which are okay areas. All those areas are fine. I got friends that live in Joliet, and even northwest Indiana, of course. Hey, here comes the Odyssey dinner boat. The nice glass boat there. Look at that. So see, we were over there. That's the bridge. And there's the Odyssey. Look at the confluence here. Look how nice it looks in landscape. You can finally film this in landscape. We got the Calatrava sculpture right there. It's nice esplanade. You can. There's the South Branch of Chicago River, the main channel that heads towards the lake where the boat's pulling out, and then this is the North Branch that heads up towards where the proposed casino is going to go. We'll see if it happens. Look at that. We'll follow this boat. We'll check out this Calatrava statue, or yeah, sculpture around this building. Thanks for the offer, Chris. I appreciate that. I might need that. We'll do a I can do my commute in, or then I'll switch to working from home. Real estate's where it's at, right? Real estate will never go down. Yeah, right. We saw it happen during the housing crisis. Hopefully it'll never happen again but now in my book, housing prices are severely inflated worldwide, and it's because so much liquidity was created by all the central banks. And if you owned assets before the pandemic, you're probably doing pretty good. If you rented or didn't own assets, you're bearing the brunt of inflation, and unless you got a significant pay raise, and so why dealing with the loud noise. I'm trying to compete talking over the loud noise of the air compressor there. Why are we having labor strikes now? There's wage inflation. People are demanding higher wages because there is inflation in housing and assets, and so people have to demand higher wages because the price of everything else, groceries, has gone up, and so we're right back where we started. And so the stock market appears much higher, but if you adjust for inflation, it might be lower. And that's the math trick that the Fed's so good at doing. And I don't mean to be so down on the Fed. It's just this has been going on for a long time. No wonder people lose faith in our currency and switch to Bitcoin and look for gold alternatives and other things. But here we'll head right down to the. Well, we'll head through the city here. We'll head through the city here. I want to get this. Oh, here comes the train going. Here's a boat. Look at this boat. Good. Thanks for the feedback. Yeah, the red and all the blue striking. Chris, I'm glad you could hear me. The problem was I couldn't hear myself. It was so loud, that air compressor, I couldn't even hear myself speak. So I wasn't sure if you guys could, but I'm glad. Let's just, since we're here, we'll head down the Riverwalk. Why not? We've walked past the theaters so many times. I'll just head right down the Riverwalk, and we'll reverse our whole process here. It's nice to see people sitting on these chairs. Yeah. Look at that. We got a nice view to the merchandise mart. People sitting out in the lake chairs. All nice colors. Yeah, look at that contrast. The blues and the reds and the whites. Very patriotic. Yellows. All primary colors. 401k relics, yeah. I remember during the financial crisis, the Great Recession, one of my coworkers, he said, my 401k is now a 201k. So you got to know when it's impossible to time the market. It just, they say never sell, and so far those people have been proven right, because it hasn't. It always has come back and gone higher, I've made the mistake of trying to time the market, and it's a fool's game. At least I'm the fool. greater fool theory of investing. Yeah, the pension plans, you're right. And and look, once again, what do I tell people? Whether we like it or not, the most rational option is to invest in corporations that, you know, their stocks are traded openly on the market, but then we're investing in corporate power, and we're forced to buy what they already own. We're forced to buy the shares that they already seen the increase in value. You have to buy shares from Elon Musk after he already was forced to sell, and then we're still investing in corporate power. We have no other option. And so then our interests are aligned with corporate interests, because if the stock market crashes, then we're more likely to pressure Congress to say, please bail out these corporations so my stock will come back. And it keeps everybody in their place, the power structure, the corporate power structure, because our economy, and who owns the debt? Who owns the debt? You know, I often argue our money's based on debt. They're like, what is money? Money's debt. The more debt we create, the more money we have. Why is the national debt so high? You know, we printed so much money to flood the market with liquidity, which kept the stock market up, but it's based on debt. And as long as we never have to pay back the debt, we can create more debt. And that's the credit rating of the U.S. government and bonds, you know. And it's complex. It blows my mind too. You know, money stops being money if we all don't believe in it. Have a run on the bank. Here, get the water taxi. Gotta go now. Look at the L. Look at this. Scenes of the city. Thanks for tuning in. Thanks for tuning in on YouTube. We'll see if anybody tunes in tonight. It'll be the same group of people here, the great people that I appreciate you following me on YouTube, watching it on the widescreen. Hopefully it looks nice. 104K. Yeah, you got it. That's what it feels like sometimes, doesn't it? Yeah. And you know, look how fortunate we are. I really thought, it's amazing, we weathered the pandemic and the stock market actually went higher. You know, there was that scary March when it really tanked, and then by the summertime it was already higher than it was, and we were still in the depths of the pandemic. You know, that was 2020. And now, you know, finally we're getting the inflation impacts, which they knew were coming. And, you know, we'll see what the Fed does today with interest rates. We're not out of it yet. Sometimes it takes, we just delayed the recession. Like this recession that never happens, that they're always worried about, but it never happens. And, you know, us that are old enough to have lived through the Great Recession, the recession of 2001, the recession of the early 90s, the 87 financial panic. Remember that, when the stock market, you know, significantly tanked, and it just came out of nowhere. You know, unfortunately it came roaring back, and everybody was like, buy the dip, buy the dip, buy the dip. It works until it doesn't. Now I'm sounding like Deo talk. If I start telling you to buy my Bitcoin, just turn it off. Let's talk crypto. You ever get those people on TikTok that want to sell you some crypto? You think they're friends, and you're like, oh, I'll follow them back, and they're like, so you want to buy some crypto from me? I'm like, no. If I want to buy crypto, why would I buy it from you? You know, we just met. Yeah, thanks for being on. Don's on, City Walking Girl, Tara, thanks. Yeah, they're everywhere. There's crypto people. You know, TikTok is a strange, to me, collection of entities. There's Chicago cycle boats. I only see these rarely go out. And sometimes they'll go out and people won't even be pedaling. They'll just be using the motor. You got this nice little waterfall area. Yeah, I'm Jim Cramer. Let's talk stocks. Jim Cramer. Booyah! You know, roll up my sleeves with the tie on and be like the sports broadcaster. They're still talking about stocks. There's always a bull market somewhere. How is he allowed to do that? The disclaimer, you ever watch CNBC and then Cramer comes on and the disclaimer is, you know, here he is, you know, supposedly there's no insider trading, but he's allowed to like promote stocks that he owns, but since it's in a charitable trust, since his fortune is in a charitable trust, he's allowed to promote the stocks that he owns that makes him wealthier, and then he just pays himself like an employee from the charitable trust. And, you know, it's just all these wonderful math tricks, you know, you could just, you know. And of course, he you know, his interests are, he never wants the stock market to go down because he is the stock market, you know, he has a vested interest in it. And so, you know, I remember watching him when the pandemic came. Those guys were sweating it. They were freaked out. And then Congress said, oh, we'll do all these PPP. We got you covered. And they were like, wow, you mean we could apply to the federal government and they'll just pay our payroll? It's awesome. Yeah, we'll put it on the national debt. It's awesome. And see, I'm spreading misinformation and propaganda. No wonder I was blocked from TikTok. I'm just talking above my pay grade. You guys know better than I do. But hey, welcome to Chicago Riverwalk. Welcome to the Eastland disaster. We got more kayakers across the way. Across from the kitchen there. River roast. Yeah. We got people jogging. Loopholes. There's always a loophole. We're finding loopholes around TikTok. In the whole scheme of things, we're just a scurvy spider. We're like there sitting with Potter and some wonderful life, and he makes us an offer. And wait, I'm working for Potter. No, this can't be right. Talking about It's a Wonderful Life. What's his name? Jimmy Stewart. Make a deal with the devil. Give me an offer I can't refuse. Look at all these kayakers. What a great day to be on the river kayaking. Yeah, look at this. Hopefully it's coming through. Yeah, thanks for coming along on the Riverwalk cruise. Brian Really Chicago's rant. There's a nice dog. Yeah. Look at this view. Scenes of the city. Tiny Tap. The show that never ends. The Great Polis. The city that works. City in a garden. City of big shoulders. Stacker of wheat. Eater of wheat. Gluten free. Yeah. His sleeves are rolled up all the time. It's part of his shtick. It just cracks me up. You know, you got to wear the symbol of corporate power. It's like if we were in Roman times, all the stockbrokers would be wearing togas. And then now all the stockbrokers are wearing suits and ties. And if you roll up your sleeves, but you still got the tie on, you still got the collar on. And, you know, the symbols of corporate power, the suit. You notice, like, you watch NFL football's back. So you watch the pregame show, and there's Terry Bradshaw, the football quarterback, retired. They'll put him in a suit. You know, they'll wear tennis shoes. But because the NFL, part of their branding, they're promoting their brand, they want a corporate suit because they represent the owners, and the players wear uniforms, so the announcers have to wear the official business uniform of the corporate power structure, which is the business suit. The women have to, on ESPN, have to wear tight-fitting slacks and, you know, and or skirts. You know what I'm talking about. And if we were back in Roman times, everybody would be wearing togas. It'd be funny, wearing like a little olive wreath on their head. I just, you know, Terry Bradshaw should be in a sweatpants. You know, he should be in sweatpants and a sweatshirt. And I'm the same way. I'm a blue collar guy, even though I work in corporate America. I don't ever fit in. Even though I put on a suit and tie, no one, you know, put my hair back in a ponytail. What do I think I am? You know, so I think I'm like a fashion designer. Legal Seafoods. Yeah, coming soon. I want that to open. I want to see what they're selling. Here's the police boat. Wow. So the police boat stopping for lunch here too. City Winery. Yeah, Terry Bradshaw. That's great. Pittsburgh. Well, at least he's a real genuine person, you know. He doesn't put on airs, but then they still make him wear a suit, and it's part of the contractual things, you know. It's just like put on the uniform. Yeah. Thanks everybody again for following along on this little lunchtime walk. Yeah, we're going to create a bunch of great YouTube content and landscape. We'll film in the park tonight. We'll get the park will look really nice in landscape. We'll be able to frame the skyline view at the South Pond Bridge there. So if you just joined, we're in Chicago. We're heading east on the Riverwalk. I think most of you guys know we've been along for the whole thing. Appreciate it. And we'll keep this show going. Myers-Briggs profile. What is that like? Thinking, what is it? Thinking, intuitive, perceptive. Yeah, you know, I'm probably on the emotional, wishy-washy side, you know, a thinking, feeling, you know, I'm not that rational. I'm an artsy-fartsy, emotional type. Myers-Briggs. You see, there's a documentary about that where it's some of it's bunk. It was like pseudoscience, you know. And how's it go? And yeah, Myers-Briggs. I think we all were forced to take that, and then we thought, you know, people would like post it on their profile, like, you know, like I got an excuse because I'm such a sensitive person, you know. I'm so intuitive that you got to cut me some slack. No, nobody's going to cut you some slack. They're going to use it to their advantage to manipulate you. We got fresh meat right here. You got a hippie. Man, that's what my Briggs-Myers squib, whatever, it came out. It said I was a hippie. It said I should just join a commune and, you know, join a cult. I was ready for brainwashing. But here, I'll show you the front side of the statue, because we were here this morning and we were talking about the back side, and then someone asked, they said, who are the two guys with Washington? And I'll show you, see if I was right. Here's the back side, the Statue of Liberty. Hawaii, that's awesome. Yeah, that's good. I hope you have a good trip to Hawaii there. That's nice. Yeah, ISTP, IN. That's good. That's good to know. Well, here we go. Here's George Washington, right up here at Wacker and Wabash by the Chicago Riverwalk. You see the Marina Towers in the background. Look, Robert Morris, George Washington, and Chaim Solomon. So the government of the United States, which gives to bigotry no sanction to persecution, no assistance, requires only that they who live under its protection should demean themselves as good citizens, in giving on all occasions their effectual support. President George Washington, 1790. Yeah. American Masonic Heritage Council, 1962. The Masons built this, yeah. So this is the Masons funded this, of course. They love George Washington. I think George Washington was a Mason, right? Yeah. So here, we'll head over this way. Hey, Lindsay, thanks for catching me on a lunch break. Yeah. Yeah. Hey, take care. Have a good lunch, or a good flight, whatever. That's good. Yeah, we'll head over this way. We're just waiting for the light to change. There's the 17th Church of Christ Scientists, again designed by Harry Weiss, a Chicago architect. Same guy that designed that housing there by the Kinsey Street Bridge. There's the Trump Tower. Yeah. People are always like, why do you always show the Trump Tower? I'm like, it's near where I work, and if I don't point it out, people freak out. They're like, show the Trump Tower, and then we get the ubiquitous, you know, Mexican lunch this weekend. Oh, there, look, the L's gonna make the bend there. That's the going around the Wabash to Lake Street bend here. We film this. Green line's making the bend. Scenes of the city. Harold Washington College. Hey, how's it going? Yeah. How's it going? I'm on YouTube. Let me pan out a little bit. Because I was zoomed in. YouTube, how's it going? Yeah, how's it going? What are you guys selling? Nature Conservatory? Keep up the good work. Keep up the work, please. Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Yeah, thank you. That's awesome. Yeah, Nature Conservatory. That's awesome. Yeah. See, scenes of the city. People out. Yeah, the banks. I know. You know, isn't it? Don't forget the bailouts that the banks got in 2009. You know, and they went into that meeting with Obama after the Great Recession, and they came out, and they got, you know, they couldn't believe their good fortune that they got saved because they were too big to fail. And then now, places like BlackRock are buying up all the real estate. Why do you think rents are going up? They're forcing all the assets to increase in value because they own the assets. And it's a big squeeze, you know, it's like a short squeeze. Yeah. No, it's probably a good policy, City Walking Girl, never to show it. It's probably better not to show it. I probably made the wrong decision to start showing it. I'm talking about the Trump Tower. I saw your comment there. And it just leads to bad things. I thought it would, like, placate the people. But no, it just emboldens them to, like, rub it in more. You know, it just, you know, and the fact that the bottom 2 floors of it have never been leased out. They've never been leased out because they just write that off as depreciation so they don't have to pay taxes. And we know what's going on. So I probably shouldn't show the Trump Tower, but it exists in the world. What do I say? I show the good, bad, and the ugly. You know, and I pay a price for it, you know. And so you probably got a better policy never to show it. I live and learn. I've already broken the seal. And you guys can imagine what I really feel about that guy. I'm definitely not a Trump supporter, never have been, never will be. And even though I fit the demographic, an old angry white guy, you know, I want to show that I'm a true hippie liberal. I know I talk about libertarianism, but some of that's bull crap too. You know, there's problems with libertarianism too. I know we need government for some things. Believe me, I know. We want the government to be there when we need it. But hey, thanks so much everybody for tuning in. We're up to 29 people. Thanks for listening. Yeah, we can all get along. We can all coexist just like the ducks and the turtles in the little pond there. Ducks and turtles can coexist. We got to find a way. We're trying to help it out. Thanks for supporting me on YouTube and understanding, and I'll support you guys back. Thanks. Yeah, support City Walking Girl. The great work she does, showcasing our city just like me. And thanks everybody else, Chris and Tara and everybody else for tuning in. I really appreciate it. Everybody else, have a great day. Enjoy your flight to Hawaii, and we'll talk to you later from Chicago. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for tuning in.